Okay, here's some repair work on a 1000 Toys synthetic human. It's the black-bodied one. This is actually the one that comes on the Snake Eyes. There's all his outfits. I received my first 1000 Toys synthetic human Snake Eyes today, and as I take it out of the package, its left arm is broken at this little joint right there. You see that little guy right there? That little post was broken off inside the shoulder. Inside there. So the arm was in place, but loose, flopping, and broke. Not happy with a $250 action figure that comes broke, and this is why I stopped collecting 3A. This is why I stopped collecting basically every toy company for years, because I was tired of paying $200 for a damn action figure that comes broke. So I was very excited that 1000 Toys quality was going to be above that, but, now I don't know. But what are you going to do? So I had to get the torso apart to figure out a way to reattach that pin. Okay, so I see these little holes in the back with plates over them, figuring the body is screwed together. Well, it's not screwed together. Everything I did to try and pop that plate out neatly would not come out glued in. So I tried to neatly Dremel it out so I could get to the screw. Well, there is no screw. The torsos are just glued together. They're not screwed together. So first hiccup in trying to get the torso apart to fix the damage. But I did it. So what I did is I took a X-Acto knife and popped the glue apart on the two sections here, on this piece and on this piece here. Got them separate and then tried, with a screwdriver to gently pry these inside pieces apart so that I could get the front and the back half off so I could get to this to be able to drill it, pin it, and glue it. Well, that didn't work. There must be glued. So what I did is I took a trusty X-Acto, heated it up red hot, and then simply went in and sliced the pins apart that hold it. Okay, so now you have two halves of the torso that you can see. I just sliced these through the armhole with the heated up knife, got them apart. And you still have this nice whole big tab on the front, which sockets into there, which I can use to glue together to hold it back. And I'll glue it on all of its attaching points, so it'll be nice and sturdy. Okay, so chest is apart. It's unfortunate that it couldn't just be unscrewed and neatly done. It had to be, damaged to get it apart, but that's how it was made. So, okay, this is the pin that was broke off. It was inside the arm. I unscrewed the shoulder joint apart, took the piece that was broken out, and got it here. Okay, so now what I did, let me turn this way, just so you can see it a little better. So, just focus. So what I did is I Zap-A-Gapped this pin back on there, where it was, let it dry, and I took it from the bottom. And see, now realizing this afterwards, I probably could have done this repair without taking the body apart. Because with removing the waist from that ball joint there, I was able to drill from the bottom up through here into the pin, or into the post. And then I put a metal pin in and Zap-A-Gapped it in. So, if I ever have to fix one of these again, I probably could do it without separating the two torso halves. And just unpop the waist off the ball joint, glue that guy in through the armhole, which would have been a little tricky, and then once it's dry, drill up through it, put a pin in it, and glue it in. So, there you go. Shoulder pin repaired. I looked everywhere on YouTube to see how to get this torso apart for repairs, and nobody has it. I saw a hip replacement in Chinese, so that didn't help any. So here we go. I don't know how much this helps. It wasn't exactly done the neatest way, with me cutting it with a heated up knife to get the torso apart, these pins here. But once it's back together and that little hole in the back is filled with putty and touched up painted, you'll really never know. I ordered 2 of these snake eyes because I had to have one naked, because I've never seen one of the 1,000 toys with the black and silver body. So I've got a second snake eyes coming. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one all back together, and then this one will be the fully dressed, outfitted one that's on display, because he's not very playable once he's got all his gear and everything on. Everything you touch him, pouches and stuff are falling out off of them without modification. So I think we're going to play with this one for a day or 2 out of its suit there. But then once the second one comes, I will resuit this one. He'll get put on a display stand, get put on the shelf, and he'll be the display version. And the second one I get, I'll strip out his outfit just to keep him as the unclothed black synthetic human body. So there you go. A quick learning curve. Woke up this morning, saw the box on my porch, was so excited, opened it up, broken arm. I was so pissed off, but I didn't want to lose the figure to ship it back, send it back, and wait for a replacement. So I opened it up, repaired it myself. Now I'm going to put it back together neatly as I can, touch it up, and there we go. That's a broken shoulder joint fixed. I hope this helps anybody that has this problem, that doesn't want to send it back and just wants to repair it themselves. It wasn't that bad. You probably don't have to separate the front and back torso like I did. Just pop the waist off, work through the armhole to glue the pin back on neatly. You don't want any excess glue, because then it's going to hinder the posability of the shoulder. But if you neatly glue that back on, you can then drill a hole through the bottom, a tiny little hole, through the bottom, neatly, really line it up good so it goes up the center of the shaft, and then I used a sewing needle that I cut down, and that's the pin that runs through there up into the post. So there you go. Hopefully, if anybody else ever has this problem, just putting this body back together here, then, and I heated it with a hairdryer, so once I heat it up again, I'll get those tops of the shoulders right back to how they should be. They're a little bit off right now, but that's just because of heating it and pressing on the body. But this is what I'm thinking is right there. If anybody else has this broken shoulder joint problem, you can probably solve it. Let me just prop this up on the neck here. Okay. You can probably solve this by removing the waist. And then you can see there where I drilled through the pin and then glued it. But you can probably repair a broken shoulder joint, not opening the body, but just by really being careful and lining this pin up properly with how it broke and gluing it back on with just a tiny drip of glue right where it broke, and then let it sit. And then go back and drill very carefully through there, up, through the shaft. Now my phone's dying. Hang on one sec while I get a plug in it. Sorry about that. Okay, again, so you drill through the bottom, up through there, like I just showed. From there, through there, put a little pin in, glue it in place, then go back and, sand it, clean it up so that there's nothing to restrict it from moving smooth. Then you need to put the 2 shoulders back on these pieces and then glue the body back together. Now getting the arms off and back on with the shoulder pieces that unscrew without taking the torso apart is going to be trickier, but it is doable. I did it on the other side. I did it on the right side before I removed the torso. I was able to unscrew the screw in the shoulder and wiggle it around, get both pieces off. So there you go. It's my first repair on a 1,000 toy synthetic human, so it's a little bit rough, but I learned a lot. And if anybody else experiences a broken shoulder joint, that's one way to fix it.